Good morning. What does it mean if you have a weird sexual desire? And when I say weird, I mean it's like not popping up on the front page of Pornhub. Perhaps it's not mainstream, or some people might think it would be unusual. And the first thing that I'm going to say as a sexual shadow work coach is that many people have a fantasy or a desire like this. And it's probably less weird than you think. But let's say if you're like, no, mine's weird. And let's say you want to make some sense out of it. Here are some things you can do. Number one, think about the aspects of this fantasy and identify what aspects of it are completely opposite than your persona of like your personality of who you show yourself to the world to be. And this is because our fantasies are often rooted in the repression, in the things that we're not allowed to be in everyday life. The other thing you could do is analyze the fantasy through a symbolic lens. Ask yourself the question, if this was a dream, what would it mean? What would it symbolize? Because usually in sexual activity, things are merging, right? What two aspects or three or four aspects are merging in this fantasy, and what do those aspects perhaps symbolize in your psyche? We also might have unusual fantasies that are actually rooted in some kind of trauma that we've had. And I'm not saying that to pathologize it. But if you just have like that one thing, you have one path to your sexual pleasure, then it's most likely rooted in trauma. And if you think that's the case, you want to look at the overall vibe of the emotion tied to this sexual fantasy and understand that your psyche and your nervous system is trying to resolve emotions that are tied to that event. Our sexual libido, our sexual magnet tends to be driven to unconscious forces. And a lot of the times it really wants to merge with the things that you're repressing the most. If you want to learn more about how to do sexual shadow work, I'm hosting a completely free workshop next week, Sexual Shadow Work 101, where I'll be giving the baseline framework and understanding of Jungian psychology and how it applies to your sex life.